This is the 2021 iPad mini, Apple's new small tablet that finally brings the mini line into the modern day. What do I mean by that? Well, all previous iPad mini models followed the exact same design language from 10 years ago, but this one finally breaks the mold, and visually it's now almost identical to last year's iPad Air. It has the same modern aluminum build with flat edges and equally sized bezels, same power button with embedded Touch ID, a USB Type-C port finally, and a magnetic Apple Pencil dock. There's no keyboard connector on the back though. Hi, I'm Rod with PhoneArena and you're watching our review of the 2021 iPad mini. This small tablet came out recently and its starting price is $499, but if you get it with optional 5G and its maximum storage of 256GB, expect to spend up to $800. In any case, everyone's first impressions when they see and hold this new tablet are essentially, wow, this looks so cool and small. It feels light and it's perfect for one-handed use. And indeed, it feels light and perfectly sized, like a notepad, which makes me believe this would be a great note-taking device for students. But because of its small size, some things had to be moved around. For example, the volume keys, which would usually be at the top here, are now weirdly on the side, because if you get an Apple Pencil and you dock it, there's really no more space for volume keys up here. So adjusting with where the volume keys are takes some time. But now let's look at the display, which is arguably the only thing we can really complain about. At first glance, the new iPad mini has a decent, if unimpressive, 8.3-inch IPS screen with good sharpness and colors. It's visible outdoors, although its 500 nits of peak brightness is less than the 2021 iPad Pro or the iPhone 13. So if using it in direct sunlight, you'll be seeing smudges and fingerprints more so than the actual picture. By the way, like all modern iPads, this one has fingerprint-resistant oleophobic coating, according to Apple, yet it collects all the fingerprints in the world like nobody's business. I was really hoping 2021 would be the year Apple improved on this, but it's not. Anyway, there's another issue with the display, the jelly scrolling effect. When scrolling through text in portrait mode, instead of the entire screen scrolling evenly, the picture actually warps cartoonishly, as if half of the screen can't catch up with the other half. I tested this against other iPads and concluded that this display quirk appears only on the iPad mini 6 and only in portrait mode. It's likely that many users won't be bothered by it or won't even notice it, but it's worth mentioning because it does bother me now that I see it. Whether or not this is something Apple can fix with a software update, we'll have to wait and see, but I doubt it. Jelly scrolling aside, this is a perfect screen size for one-handed use. Combined with the iPad mini's comfortable weight of just 293 grams, it's extremely convenient for reading and jotting down notes with the Apple Pencil. Now let's turn this tablet around and look at the situation at the back. Unlike previous iPad mini models, the 2021 iPad mini here has a camera bump on the back, inside which is a single 12-megapixel wide camera with autofocus. With that main camera, you can record videos of up to 4K 60 frames per second, which at least on paper is quite impressive for a tablet. 4K video recordings come out satisfyingly sharp, and there's a good level of stabilization, although there's also a notable motion blur effect when moving around. Thankfully, when you switch down to 1080p 60 fps, motion blur is much less present, plus recording in this format will take much less of your storage. On the front of the tablet for selfies, FaceTime and video calls in general, we have an ultra-wide front-facing camera with center stage support. And ultra-wide is the correct word, this camera can capture so much, which is exactly what makes center stage possible. Center stage is a feature that only the new 2021 iPads support, which automatically follows you if you're moving around during video calls. You can use center stage on FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, Facebook Messenger and other video calling apps. And while it's cool, you can also disable it if you want. Unfortunately, when holding this iPad mini in landscape, its 12-megapixel front camera is still positioned in the center of the left bezel, not the top bezel, meaning you'd likely have to hold it in portrait during video calls. It's very easy to block it with your hands otherwise, so yeah, like on other iPads, this is not the perfect front camera placement. But in terms of camera quality, the new iPad mini's front camera is very solid, especially of course when taking photos and videos in good lighting. For a tablet where the standards are pretty low, pictures come out reasonably sharp and detailed. Now let's talk about something very important to me, speaker quality. Despite its small size, the iPad mini 6 packs quite a punch when it comes to sound. Like the 2020 iPad Air, this new iPad mini has 4 speaker grills, but only 2 speakers, one behind each bottom grill. Now again, that's not perfect placement because you can cover them when holding the tablet in landscape. But on the plus side, unlike any previous iPad mini model, here we finally have true stereo sound, as the 2 speakers are on opposite sides of the tablet. Sound is also reasonably full and loud with clean highs, mids and even a hint of upper bass. you will likely be more than happy with how movies, YouTube videos and games sound on this iPad mini. And speaking of audio, with this iPad's redesign, the headphone jack is finally gone from the iPad mini series, after Apple removed it from all other modern iPads except for the budget one. Now let's talk about software. The iPad mini 6 comes with iPadOS 15, which has plenty of new features for the Apple Pencil should you choose to get it. Those include Quick Note, which allows you to take notes at any time by swiping from the bottom right corner to the center, or Scribble, which lets you handwrite into any text field instead of having to use the touch keyboard. The Safari web browser has been redesigned to be more compact, with the search bar and tabs combined inside one row, which is welcome on the iPad mini small display where every inch matters. In addition, iPadOS lets you add more than just icons on your home screen. Widgets are here and can be moved around freely. Speaking of the home screen, on this particular iPad there are some notable margins between the left and right edges of the screen and the area where the actual icons and widgets are, which is odd. Those are much smaller, almost unnoticeable on the 2020 iPad Air, for example. But on the iPad mini 6 and some other iPad models like the budget iPad, those margins got big on iPadOS 15, perhaps as a result of the new home screen widget support. So yeah, there is some wasted screen space here. In terms of performance, the 2021 iPad mini is packing Apple's A15 Bionic chip. While it's no M1 like on the iPad Pros, Apple definitely didn't skimp on raw power here. The iPad mini is by far the fastest small tablet you can get right now. Needless to say, the iPad mini crushes all the heavy tasks you may want to do on it without breaking a sweat. Whether you're video editing, photo editing, drawing on Photoshop with lots of layers, or gaming, you won't experience any lagging or other issues. Multitasking works flawlessly too, as underwhelming as it may still be on iPadOS 15. You can open two apps in split view with more in slide over, the latter being sort of a pop-up carousel of apps you can switch between at any time. Apple advertises this iPad as having all-day battery life, which translated from marketing speak means you can only expect a single day of battery life. Now that's not too surprising. This is a small iPad with a 5000 mAh battery, similar to the battery size of some big phones. And considering the raw power we're dealing with here, a single day of battery life is pretty respectable. If you're planning to take this little guy and use it for school or work, it will carry you through the full school day or work day. Just be ready to charge it overnight. In conclusion, this is the best premium small tablet you can get right now for reading, jotting down notes, gaming, and pretty much any use case where you find the bigger iPads unwieldy and your phone too small. This iPad mini is for the more special use cases where size really matters. But you know best whether you can find it useful and what for. In any case, thanks for watching, subscribe and check out the full iPad mini 6 review at PhoneArena.com for more details, sample photos, videos and more. See you next time.